Today, we're diving into a massive new rule in India that is completely set to change the way you use apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal. It's a big one, so let's get right into it.
So think about this for a second. You're traveling abroad, you pop in a local SIM card to get data, but your Indian WhatsApp number keeps working just fine over Wi-Fi, right? We've all done it. It's a convenience we kind of take for granted.
Well, that little travel hack, it's about to become a thing of the past. A new government mandate is here, and it creates a hard link between your app and your physical SIM card, which means that seamless experience is about to hit a wall.
So here's what we're going to break down. First, what exactly is this new rule? Then, we'll look at why this is happening now, and the reasons are serious. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of how it's being enforced, both technically and legally. We'll weigh the pros and cons for you, the user. And finally, we'll look ahead at what this means for India's digital future.
All right, so let's get right into it. What is this new no SIM, no app mandate? This isn't just some small tweak in the settings. It's a fundamental change to how these communication apps have to work in India.
So, it all started on November 28, 2025. The Department of Telecommunications dropped an order with immediate effect, and it's aimed squarely at what we call over-the-top, or OTT communication services. Basically, all those apps that let you message and call over the internet, bypassing the traditional phone networks.
And listen, the net here is incredibly wide. We're talking about the global heavyweights, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, Snapchat, you name it. But it also includes homegrown services like GeoChat. The bottom line is, if your app uses a phone number to identify you, it falls under this new mandate.
So what's the core idea? It all comes down to a concept called SIM binding. You see, for years, these apps only needed your SIM for a one-time verification. You get a text, you enter the code, and you're done. The app and the SIM went their separate ways. Well, not anymore. The new rule says the app has to be permanently tethered to that SIM. If the registered SIM card is not physically inside your phone and active on the network, the app simply will not work, period.
But why? Why such a drastic move, and why right now? Well, this isn't a random decision. It's a direct and pretty forceful answer to a national crisis that's been getting worse and worse. The government's reasoning is crystal clear. They're trying to shut down a massive wave of sophisticated cybercrime. We're talking about a huge spike in financial scams, heartbreaking sextortion schemes, and these really scary digital arrest scams where fraudsters impersonate police. And here's the kicker. Many of these criminal operations are being run from outside of India.
And this right here gets to the heart of the problem. There's this huge loophole criminals have been exploiting. They could get a SIM card, often using fake documents, use it once to activate WhatsApp or Telegram, and then just toss the SIM. The app would keep working perfectly fine over Wi-Fi, making the criminal a digital ghost. It became almost impossible for law enforcement to trace the activity back to a real person. This new mandate is designed to slam that loophole shut.
Okay, so a rule is one thing, but how do you actually enforce it, especially on some of the world's biggest tech companies? Well, it all rests on two powerful pillars, a technical mandate and a legal one. You need both to make something this big stick.
The technical side is actually pretty simple. First, the app on your phone has to be constantly checking, hey, is the right SIM card still in here? If you take that SIM out, the app has to immediately stop working. Second, for everyone who uses WhatsApp Web or the desktop apps at work, get ready for this, you're going to be automatically logged out every 6 hours. To get back in, you'll have to pull out your phone, the one with the active SIM, and rescan that QR code.
Now, for the legal muscle. This isn't just a suggestion. It's backed by a triple threat of powerful laws. You've got the brand new Telecommunications Act of 2023, which gives the government the clear authority to regulate these apps. Then there are the IT rules from 2021, which already require these platforms to take steps to fight fraud. And finally, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act of 2023, which reinforces the whole idea that your digital identity must be tied to a real verifiable person. You put those three together, and you have a pretty ironclad legal framework.
So we've gone through the what, the why, and the how. But let's get to the most important question. What does this actually mean for you in your daily life? Well, it boils down to a classic, massive trade-off: security versus convenience.
Let's talk about the price we're all going to pay. If you travel and swap SIM cards, your Indian number on WhatsApp will just stop working until you put that SIM back in. If you use your number on a Wi-Fi-only tablet, that's probably not going to work anymore. And that 6-hour logout from your work computer, it's definitely going to add a little friction to the day. But then you have to look at the payoff, and it's a big one. This should lead to a huge, immediate jump in security. It makes it so much harder for scammers and account hijackers to operate, which could mean, finally, Fewer of those annoying scam messages and calls that we all get.
So where do we go from here? It's really important to see this mandate not as an endpoint, but as a major signpost for a much bigger shift in India's entire digital ecosystem. And the government is not wasting any time. The timeline here is incredibly aggressive. The directive came out on November 28th, and these giant global tech companies have just 90 days to make these changes. That means by the end of February 2026, this will be the new reality. The message to big tech is loud and clear. Compliance isn't up for debate.
And the long-term ripples from this could be huge. For one, India could be writing a new playbook for how countries all over the world regulate internet communication. We should absolutely expect a major legal and technical showdown between the government and these companies. This could also be a stepping stone towards even stronger identity verification, maybe using biometrics or Aadhaar down the line. And think about it. Once you've locked identity to a person, the next big frontier is figuring out how to trace the origin of messages even on encrypted platforms.
So ultimately, it all comes down to this really fundamental question. The goal, a safer and more secure digital India for everybody, is something we can all get behind. But it forces us all to think about that balance. What price are we as users willing to pay in our daily convenience, and maybe even our digital freedom, to get there?